Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable silence feels? The moment the music stops, the phone screen dims, the room goes still, something inside begins to stir. It's subtle at first, a whisper beneath the ribs. Then it grows. You feel it, don't you? That strange unease that comes when the noise disappears. We call it boredom, but it's not boredom, it's exposure. In the silence, the world stops talking, and your soul starts. You begin to hear thoughts you've buried, questions you've postponed, and truths you've been too busy to face. That's why peace, real peace, feels so expensive. It demands that you stop running. Think about it. Why is it easier to scroll than to sit still? Why does a minute of quiet feel longer than an hour of chaos? Why do we fill our lives with sound, podcasts, playlists, notifications, as if silence itself were a threat? Maybe it's because deep down we know that stillness doesn't entertain us. It confronts us. The world trains us to crave motion. Every second must be productive. Every pause must have purpose. Even our rest is optimized. We meditate with timers. We relax with screens. We breathe only when an app reminds us to. We say we're looking for peace. But the truth is, most of us are just looking for quieter ways to stay distracted. Have you ever wondered why peace feels unnatural? Why it's so hard to sit in a quiet room alone? Because silence has a voice, and it doesn't flatter you. It doesn't tell you what you want to hear. It tells you what you need to confront. It pulls back the curtain on the noise you've mistaken for meaning. We've built lives that are always full of content, full of conversations, full of noise, yet somehow still empty. We measure our value by activity, our worth by engagement. The more we move, the less we have to feel. The less we feel, the safer we seem. But silence has a way of calling your bluff. There's a reason why the quiet moments feel heavier. It's not because nothing is happening. It's because everything is. In the stillness, the surface of life fades, and what's beneath begins to rise. The fears, the doubts, the memories, the parts of you that have been waiting to be seen. Peace brings them to the surface, not to shame you, but to free you. The irony is that most people say they crave peace. They post about it, pray for it, plan vacations to find it. But the truth, we don't actually want peace. We want the idea of peace, the feeling of calm, without the cost of confronting ourselves. Because peace has a price. It asks for surrender. It asks for presence. It asks you to stop pretending that noise is purpose. Silence is not empty. It's reflective. When the noise fades, what you start hearing is not the world, but yourself. Every unprocessed thought, every postponed emotion, every unhealed wound begins to surface. And that's why we fear it. Silence doesn't hurt us. It shows us where we're already hurting. The first few minutes of quiet are always the hardest. Your mind starts running laps around the cage it built. You think of messages to reply to, tasks to finish, reasons to get up, anything to escape the stillness. But if you stay long enough, something strange happens. The chaos begins to speak in full sentences. The silence starts revealing patterns. You notice that your anxiety isn't random. It has a rhythm. The same thoughts repeat. The same fears return. The same inner voice whispers the same doubts. The silence is showing you the loops you've been living inside without noticing. That's when realization hits. The noise wasn't just distraction. It was medication. You weren't listening to music. You were muting your mind. You weren't working hard. You were running from what rest might reveal. Noise became your anesthetic. Stillness threatens to wake you. There's a reason most people fall asleep to noise. We don't want to dream, we want to drown. Because dreams come from the subconscious, and silence opens its door. But every time you fill your environment with sound, you're closing that door again, keeping wisdom locked behind fear. In silence, you begin to meet parts of yourself you've ignored. The tired one, the insecure one, the disappointed one. They've been waiting quietly, behind every distraction. They don't come to shame you. They come to tell you where peace has been hiding. They are not your enemies, they are your echoes. The truth is, we fear silence because we've mistaken stillness for stagnation. We think that if we stop moving, we'll lose momentum. But silence doesn't steal progress. It restores direction. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means listening before acting. Think about the last time you made a bad decision. Chances are it wasn't because you lacked options. It was because you lacked quiet. Wisdom rarely shouts. It waits. It hides in the pauses between impulses, in the breaths between reactions. The noise of urgency drowns out the voice of understanding. Every major collapse, personal or societal, begins when people stop listening. Commentary, the replay of past failures, the rehearsed conversations that never happened. Even when the room is quiet, your mind hums like a city that never sleeps. That's the noise we carry everywhere, the one silence tries to heal. You tell yourself you're calm, but the mind never stops negotiating. You worry about what's next, regret what's gone, and forget that the present is the only place peace can live. You've mastered the art of being busy on the outside and broken on the inside. Most people believe that if they could just fix their circumstances, they'd find peace, a new job, a new city, a new relationship. But geography doesn't cure noise. You can move across the world, but you'll still carry the same storm inside your skull. Peace is not found in new surroundings. It's found in a new surrender. The world sells distractions disguised as answers. Buy this, achieve that, prove yourself. But peace doesn't live in achievement. It lives in acceptance. Every time you chase the next milestone thinking it will finally calm the noise, the silence just grows louder when you arrive. The truth is, most of what we call success is just beautifully organized noise. The schedules, the goals, the titles, they give structure to the chaos, but never solve it. You can decorate your anxiety with gold and call it progress, but it's still anxiety. It just has better lighting. You start realizing that you've mistaken noise for purpose. You fill your life with tasks to avoid the emptiness between them. You make plans to feel in control, conversations to feel connected, noise to feel alive. But the more you fill, the less you feel. The soul doesn't grow in clutter. It grows in quiet. There's a moment when you look at your reflection and realize you don't know who you're performing for anymore. The audience has faded, the applause has stopped, but the act continues. That is when you understand. The noise isn't just outside. It is the echo of an identity built on reaction instead of reflection. Silence confronts that identity. It strips away the decorations, the praise, the pressure, the plans, and asks the hardest question: who are you without the noise? Not your name, not your role, not your routine. You, the quiet self that lives beneath all your performances. You start noticing how much of your day is built on avoidance. The way you check your phone the moment things slow down, the way you fill every gap with activity, the way you confuse urgency with importance. Every habit becomes proof of your fear of stillness. You begin to understand why peace feels so unnatural. It is not that you can find it, it is that you keep pushing it away. Peace is the absence of noise, but noise has become your identity. Without it, who are you? That's the fear silence awakens. The ancients warned about this. They said the soul that cannot rest will eventually forget how to live. They called it a restless spirit, a life addicted to motion, incapable of contentment. You start to wonder if the constant striving isn't ambition, but escape. Every time you slow down, your mind rebels. At some point, the chase for calm exhausts you. You realize that peace isn't something to be hunted, it is something to be accepted. The war was never about finding silence, it was about allowing it. Stillness doesn't arrive when you win. It arrives when you stop fighting. You start to notice how heavy all the noise has become. The notifications, the ambitions, the endless analysis of your own worth. It is not that the world got louder, it is that you forgot how to live quietly. You've been running so long that rest feels foreign. You've been performing so hard that peace feels undeserved. But peace has never been a reward, it's a return. It's the place your soul remembers, the home you left when you chose constant motion. It doesn't need to be earned, only welcomed. Yet welcoming it requires the one thing modern life refuses to give you: time. You begin to understand why silence scared you. It wasn't because it was empty, it was because it was full of truth, full of feeling, full of everything you'd buried under noise. Stillness was never the absence of life. It was the mirror showing you how alive you could be. The first time you truly stop, the world feels distant. The mind resists. It searches for something to fix, something to control. But gradually, that restlessness begins to soften. The thoughts slow, the body releases. The heart, for the first time in years, remembers what it means to just be. You start learning that peace is not quietness, it's clarity. It's not about silence outside, but alignment inside. You stop chasing balance as if it were an achievement and begin to see it as a rhythm. Inhale, exhale, release. Peace is not an escape from life, it's the return to it. The people around you begin to notice a change. You speak slower but with more meaning. You listen longer but with more care. You no longer rush to fill the pauses. You start realizing that silence between words can say more than words themselves. The same moments that once felt unbearable, the empty room, the still morning, the pause between plans, now feel sacred. You begin to crave them,